Your Honors, Melech'ha, I am so sorry for what were happening all around. You wanted I to speak a little bit about what is the attempting against the Jewish population. There is expressly one thing like it were all around, which is part of the whole we have been discussing so long. Jewish has been seen for the Gaza problems like the murderers, and always the conflicts about the Jewish will be the bad guys, the bad dudes on the history. There is a lot of information and a lot of elements that are not really bad what you already know. The same truth. There is nothing to discuss between the reality of the information and what this really is. We understand who we are. And the reason of this is, if Jewish are the bad dudes, what it remains for the rest of the humankind. We were discussing this so long. There is a lot of crime committed by others in the world, but the clear fact of this is Jewish will be the bad dudes. So Masonry knows what are doing permanently. So committing crime about others will be like, okay, they committed crime and they are this and they are that, except to be a pro-junkie. And others, other classes. You know, there is a very problem that a lot of people makes. I always said, whenever there is a criminal, it's a criminal, no matter what the precedents and the precedents. And the reality is, we are not criminals, unless for being Jewish. To the truth and to the fact for this, the conflict is dominion for the same that we have been suffering all a lifetime, which it is not only for the Jewish kind, it is what normally Masonry have been producing and trying to birth. So suddenly, the clear fact of this is exactly what we know and we understand. To truth, to putting in evidence and relevant this whole as this really happens all around. There is nothing that you wouldn't know except the reasons of Masonry, which were exactly what we were suffering so long these last seasons. And the attemptings numbers seeking for the sites over how possibly to making the possibility this to happen. People is being kidnapped, people is being damaged all over the world. Not only Jewish, but the problem is always the same. And Jewish, on the reasons of what we already know, which this have been promoting, and naturally still producing for the reason of, they says, anti-Zionism, anti-capitalism. The clear fact of what the attempting ways are exactly expressly for what it is the power and dominion, and not for other. And the power and dominion is exactly the class of element that we came on dealing so long. Power and dominion is exactly the class of element that each as sides have been discussing for what this have come, the attempting, power and dominion, and other lower class of agreed and classy things that the liver seem to needs to realize that they can, once making abominations for what this class proceeds about making. So at the sechadia pesbat ladia di sherak di kade sechmoad ragdela silidish averechedek hama ansan maan seshol leat latikat redechoat vesbat masea maseshayam adefa siilag gedechoma deveset lidish shelai dachama chalimim. It is not really so much nice at all, but the reality is the class of an attempting the liver seems to needs established dominion and taking what says to be taking for the supposed rights to be like Argentina, Masonry, Kirchner's at the last season, and some other with them. Like we discussed, they says they are the only one that worth us. They says. So they takes the class of the target and any of the class to cleaning what they does to the class because of they don't have to pay, they says. For what they worth us, they will do whatever they want with anybody's lives. And that includes Jewish. Like the murder of Nisman, like the murder of much other like Nisman, and like the reality which delivered into making much other situations which were exactly the relevantly decision to the making like are doing to me for the dominion and power, and same has rights to take and be. So the reality of this is exactly we are, and we cannot deny, we cannot refuse who we are, and we have Adon, and we cannot refuse Adon. We should ever remain with Adon, and understanding which this class always proceeds about the making because of recognizes Adon, and recognizes we have Adon, and we are something of El Adon. They says they has superiority, supremacy, and they has rights for whatever they want. And other class is exactly the class of they will determine what to be and what to not be, and who to be on the reality of the element of dominion which delivers into what will be a God about El Chai, and who will be to determine what to be the God class for. There are happening so much things and so much other the relevant element for the levity of the known way back at the disaster which this delivers into making attemptings. Always is the class of the element itself, and the element that delivers into had to be because of they will be the only ones and nobody else. And the reality of this is we have been suffering so long for the reason of what we have and who we are, and we cannot refuse to that. I am so sorry for the fires. I am so sorry for much other. I am under attempting permanently, and not only I. We know this. and permanently are seeking the way to reach out and the way to taking and the way to making, and permanently are seeking the way to kidnap with false ideas and with anything to dilika vechemat etsedo shev ve'ad va'ad chalam ma'atzika, whatever to take. And it's exactly what we suffer. So suddenly the number of the elements to use are exactly as the capacity for the making up anything to be plausible. For the while and done, nothing to discuss. After done, there is exactly like you see with me. Nobody releases. And makes the job as until they says has rights for. Discusses, disguises, and makes whatever they argues, whatever the elements, as same selves for the making exactly what they need. It's a very cast of hell, ready for anything and ready for everything. And it's exactly what I am so tired of, and not only I. Alright, I hope with this to be enough for today. But I know there is not enough. There is so much more to discuss. And I give you https://www.dpidbmtnt middle. Somos la casta superior, somos la casta mayor de toda la creación, y fuera de nosotros no existe nada ni existirá. Middle DPIDNT F3323667 9394 8789 998 8662 middle cis middle IDBIDMT point IT DM point ENT point INT. This is F5 and F7 and 9 systems recall on-prems. The last of the tools works perfectly at this Monday 28th November 2016. This is for about 1100 here in Buenos Aires, or a little bit more. And I keep with a problem, and not only I send you this, and I hope in the information you have found more reasons to still fight and to still keep on making the best ever job for the reason of this to worth it, and for the reason of this to be something which demands what to be, survival's being, and having a dawn, and understanding that we as persons, as ID, we worth it, and we will always do. And the reality of fixing, we can fix, but we are not the black ships of the humankind. And there is a lot of people that has nothing to do, which are putting like elements for the clearing whatever this class are permanently doing. And we should be careful about it. Bless you so much, and I'm so sorry.